is part of our second series of presentations about the Book of Mormon. Because the prophet Joseph Smith taught the early church leaders that the Lehigh colony landed in South America, we have created this series of videos. Our theories and research is based on the truths from the Book of Mormon, but should not be considered as official church doctrine. The Mulekites, Part 2 by L. Norman Shurtleff. The landing of Mulek and his people in the Promised Land. Obviously, we do not know exactly where Mulek landed in the Promised Land, or in other words, South America, but we do have an exact knowledge from the revelation to the prophet Joseph Smith where the family of Lehi landed in the New World, after being guided by the Lord and the Liahona. We know that the Lehi colony landed on the 30th parallel in northern Chile, near modern-day Coquimbo, Chile. Through this modern-day revelation to the prophet Joseph Smith, we can give a fairly accurate location of the landing for the Mulekites. The Book of Mormon gives us this geographical description of the landing location. Now the land south was called Lehi, and the land north was called Mulek, which was after the son of Zedekiah. For the Lord did bring Mulek into the land north, and Lehi into the land south. Helaman chapter 6, verse 10. We learn a couple of things from this passage. Number one, the Lord was leading Mulek and his company to the Promised Land, and he had prepared a special place or land for this special group of people in their new Promised Land. Number two, the land of Mulek, or the city of Zarahemla, was in the northern part of the land southward, whereas the landing area of Lehi was in the south of the land southward. The two areas are geographically close enough together that they can be connected by only a journey of many days' travel. Here we present a map of the Promised Land as it may have appeared anciently in 584 BC, before the land changed at the time of Jesus Christ. The long island of ancient legend is shown in this map, with the landing of Lehi in the south and then the landing of the Mulekites in the north. According to the Book of Mormon passage, which was already presented, the Mulekites landed in the area of the land or city of Zarahemla and stayed there for the whole time until they were discovered by King Mosiah I. We do not have an exact time period for the arrival of the Nephites and King Mosiah I to the land of Zarahemla, but it is estimated to be around 150 to 130 BC. Therefore, if it is estimated that from the fall of Jerusalem, 586 BC, it may have taken the Mulekite party about 5 to 6 years, mainly traveling by boat, to get to the Americas. Then the Mulekites lived in Zarahemla for approximately 430 years before the Nephites arrived, during which time they had conflicts and wars and their language had become corrupted. The Mulekites had time to become a formidable and great civilization during the more than 4 centuries of building cities and improving their new land. Zarahemla was the largest city for much of the history of the Book of Mormon. It is where King Mosiah I moved the Nephite nation to combine with the Mulekite. King Mosiah was also a prophet and was able to translate the Jaredite record for the Mulekites. He taught them the laws and commandments of the gospel through the teachings of the brass plates, and taught them again the language of the Jews that had been corrupted. So where did Mulek and his group of Israelites land? Where is the city of Zarahemla? It had to be in the land southward and north of the original landing site of Lehi's colony, and north of the city of Nephi by a distance of many days' journey. We believe the place to be the city of Lima, Peru. Francisco Pizarro built his new city on the coast over the ruins of this ancient city. Anciently, it was called the City of Kings, but nobody could ever remember there ever having kings living in this city. Immediately to the south is the sacred religious citadel called Pachacamac. In this map of South America, you can see spatially how close Lima, our city Zarahemla, is to Cusco, or the city of Nephi. Coquimbo in northern Chile is on the 30th parallel, where the Lehi colony landed. In the ruins of Pachacamac, the largest temple structure is the Temple of the Sun. It is a huge, colossal structure, built mostly of millions of clay bricks. We do not know if the Mulekites built these ancient structures themselves, or if other groups built them them later. The Inca culture worshipped the sun, and these are several pictures of the Temple of the Sun. And here are a couple of more pictures of the Temple of the Sun. It is the largest and most colossal temple of Pachacamac. The Temple of the Moon, here is a picture of the Temple of the Moon. It is the second largest structure of the complex. It is also made of millions of clay bricks that were dried in the sun anciently. The Temple of the Moon is also magnificent. It usually never rains here on the coast of Peru, so these structures have remained relatively intact over the centuries. Another area of Pachacamac is called the Temple of the Women. It is built more like a dormitory or an apartment complex. It is also beautifully preserved today. It is a wonderful example of the ancient ruins that are part of the Lima Zarahemla area. The Temple of the Women is a beautiful, fascinating ruin. Lima, Peru, our city Zarahemla. Francisco Pizarro moved his capital city to Lima, Peru in 1536. Because of his health. The Andean highlands and Cusco at 11,000 feet above sea level was not good for him. So the governor moved to the city with a good climate and named it Buena Clima. Then it was eventually shortened to Lima. Francisco Pizarro located his capital here not only because of the beautiful climate, but because of the great natural harbor for his boats, the fertile ground, and abundant water from rivers flowing down from the Andes. Our city, Zarahemla, was a beautiful city that the Spanish built on top of its ruins. Now, the city of Lima is a sprawling, massive city of 9 million people, built along the beautiful coast of the clear blue waters of the Pacific Ocean. It was truly a beautiful city of kings and temples to God. Next to the city of Nephi, it is the second most famous city in the Book of Mormon, and the Lamanites were continually trying to possess it. The Mulekite nation lived here for 430 years, and then combined with the Nephites to become a mighty nation, and lived for many years here in peace and as a covenant people in the land of promise, as the children of God.